Well, hello everyone. My name is Rick Passek, the FlyFish Fanatic, and welcome to my tying bench. Today we'll be tying a fall staple, the Corixa Boatman, however you want to. Some people call it Boatman. Some people use the taxonomic name, the Corixa. Old school pattern. One I'm going to tie. It's a traditional pattern with a twist. The twist is back in 2002-ish, Arthur Cove from the UK came up with just a little tiny twist on the original Corixa, which is just it's just got a pheasant tail shellback body, and then it uses pheasant tail as wings. In this case, pheasant tail wings or legs are gone, and Arthur Cove ended up putting some hackle in for the front end to act as legs, and I've been tying a very similar pattern for a few years, and it's extremely successful. So let's get to it. I'll switch over cameras. So in the vise today we have a Hends BL354 in a size 10. I'll be using some silver gray Nanosilk, some Peacock herl, dyed green grizzle, pheasant tail, and some white Antron yarn for the body, and some Semperfli red 0.2 mil wire, and you'll see where that comes in place later on. So it's part of the rig. So, alrighty, so let's get her going. I have a tendency when I tie this one, I can actually show you a couple here that these have been fished already, but that's what we're going to do. I have a tendency of always crowding the head on these. I don't know why. I do it almost every time, so hopefully I don't do that on this one. And I tie these anywhere from a size 8 down to a size 14, with probably 10 and 12 being the most common. It all depends on your area, the lake you're going to. Some lakes do have larger insects, so you just got to tie it for your area, right? So, alrighty. So last thing wrapped forward, first thing in. So I'm gonna take about 8 or 10 pheasant tail feathers, and I'm just going to. That one actually is no good. I'm gonna grab a couple more because a couple of those were really short. I know there's a guy locally here that was offering pheasant tail because he shot a few pheasant. I might have to take him up on it because some of these are looking a little scraggly. So just cut the tips off, the ends off, sorry, not the tips. And I'm just gonna, right up here at the front, I'm gonna leave a little bit of room because I do want to leave some room for that hackle so I don't crowd my head, which, like I said, I have a tendency of doing, so trying my hardest not to. Back to roughly the barb, maybe a little bit further of where the barb would be, and then back forward. Okay, take my wax counterclockwise thread, wax. Make sure you wax it really good at this point because now we're going to be adding in some wire, and wire can be really slippery. So just catch that in a couple of wraps. Then I'm going to take one piece of peacock herl. I'm going to tie it in by the tip, but I'm going to cut off a little bit because the tips can be extremely brittle. Hopefully I don't break this one when I wrap it. Sometimes I do break them, and there's a couple of reasons behind that. First of all, the Nanosilk has a tendency of it's sharp, right? Like it can cut this stuff quite easily, but more than anything, my peacock herl is pretty old, so it can get brittle. So that's that point. Now I'm going to take a little bit of that Antron yarn, cut off a piece off the card. Just make sure I even up those tips there. Again, leaving myself some room at the front here for the hackle. Flattening my thread. Keep this tied in on the top. right back to the tie-in point. Back again. Then what I like doing, just because sometimes with my big klutzy clunky fingers, I like just giving this a whip finish or two. Just to make sure I don't, when I'm wrapping and stuff, I don't knock things forward. So, ready? So keep that herl out of the way. Keep that wire out of the way. Best you can. Flatten your antron yarn best you can. And start wrapping it forward. So I'll wrap it all the way to the front here, and then I'll actually come back about 3/4 of the way, not all the way. I'm going to almost create a bit of a cigar shape to this, okay? And I'll come right back up to the front here, lock it in, nice and tight, couple 2-3 wraps, pull that back, tie in the front. I moved that vise. How's that focus? It's pretty bad. Come on, there you go. That antron, it doesn't like focusing in on that antron. So just nip off that material there. Just gonna, again, a little bit of wax. Just gonna tie that down, make sure that all stays down nicely. Come back a little bit. So now, this is the part that can be a little ginger. So I'm going to get that wire and that peacock herl. And I'm going to grab my, get this out of the way over here, my hackle plier. Whatever style you like. These are the Stonefo ones. They've got a little bit of a spring load on them, right? So they've got a, just helps a little bit for, again, my big clunky fingers so I don't pull as much. So now I'm just giving this a spin. And the reason I'm doing that is I'm actually spinning the peacock herl and the wire together just to reinforce that herl, so that herl is stronger. Okay? So now the other thing is with this, I personally really like the way the red looks with this, the red wire. Silver is the traditional way of doing this, but I like the red when it sticks through. It's awesome. So now I'm going to put one wrap right at the butt, and then I want about 3 to 4 wraps if possible here. That's going to be awesome. Perfect. Yep, there we go. Again, nice and tight there. 3-4 times in behind, 3-4 times in front. Now I'm going to take my wire scissors. I'm just going to turn this so you guys can see and so I can see. Take my wire scissors, get right in there. See how that red wire kind of shines through from occasion to occasion there? Love that. I love that look. So, okay, so now I'm just going to wrap back a little bit. I'm going to take my Shellback material. Just going to give it a bit of a push right here at the back so it folds over the way I want it to fold over. Just going to make sure these filaments line up as best as possible. Hold it where I want it. And then, actually, you know what? Before I forget, a little bit of wax, wax, wax. Especially on these slippery materials, right? We've got to wax stuff. Come back a bit again. How's that looking? Not bad, actually. A little bit of a scraggler down there. Yeah, it's not too bad. So now I'm going to lift this up, put a couple of wraps in front, take my good scissors, come in nice and tight, nip that off. Flatten my thread, come back a bit. Now I'm going to pick one hackle out of here, and I want a thin one. I don't want one that's going to give me too long barbels. So now, yes, it looks like I'm going to waste it because I've got this long feather, but what I end up with is a feather like this that I can use for the next size. You know, I can use it for a size 8 or a size 10 or woolly bugger or, you know, whatever. So now I'm just going to grab my hackle plier and grab the very tip of this hackle, and then I'm just going to stroke back just to create a tie-in point. So there's a good tie-in point. Nip it off. I like having them a little bit longer, the tie-in points like that, because I like doing that. Then yes, that looks like it's going to be in the eye, but then I try to fold that material back and get on top of it. So now not only have I got it tied in one way, I've got it tied in both. So, okay. Now there is that little tiny bit there. I'm just going to give it a boop with the flame. Gets that out of the way there. Again, just because of my big clunky fingers, I like just putting a half hitch in so I don't knock stuff off. And then train all your barbels back and give it a couple, 3 wraps. 1. And it depends on your hackle too. Sometimes you can get away with 2, or you have to go to 4. 2, I'll do 3. And again, 1 right after the other, touching the other one. 3. Okay. Run your thread through. Don't worry about what it looks like right now. This will all get cleaned up when we're done here. Here, another couple more. And you kind of want this a little scraggly at the front, because they impart movement, right? So that's what you want with this. So now I'm just looking at my fingers, and I'm going to take all this stuff and I'm going to stroke back as much as I can. Again, not too worried about if a couple of them are sticking out like that. And I want those swept back. And a couple, 3-4 turns, whip finish. And then nip that off. Take my lighter, hold back all the stuff that I don't want to burn, and just give it a bit of a singe. Clean up those little hairs that came up to the front there like that. Then I like taking my brush and just giving this a bit of a brush out, making sure none of those are stuck down. And I'm just going to put a little bit of head cement on that fly, and we are done. That's it. That is the pattern. Now you can tie this with green or with a more of a brownish to match the back. This one actually twisted a little bit on me, but there we go. Oh, there. Right, but that's the bottom is the key, right? That's what you want, because boatmen carry a water bubble in their belly, right, in their underside, and that's what that's the telling sign for the boatman, for the fish. It shines. It's a bubble, right? It's air. So that's what they go after. So yeah, that is the pattern. Like I said, it's an old school pattern. With a new school, little bit of a new school twist on it. And like I said, the other one I do is I'll don't put this front hackle on, and I'll actually tie in some green, brown, orange, red rubber legs. It all depends on what you like. So, and I'll have a little bit of a little bit different ones on each in my box, right? So, all right, tie lines. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. If you did, please give her a thumbs up. If you've subscribed, thank you very much. If you have not, please consider doing so. Once I hit 1,000 subscribers, I will be giving away a copy of the 2 books that I wrote, as well as a selection of the flies tied on this channel. So spread the word, guys. Tie lines.